Welcome to Pathways to Freedom in the Americas, our shared experiences. I want to introduce you to the third researcher on our team, Dr. Talia Weltman-Cisneros. She's the Executive Director of Integrate Arts in Dallas, Texas. She's originally from Johannesburg, South Africa. I tease everyone that she's the only African on the group team. And all of us serve on the International Committee of the Dr. Martin Luther King Task Force. And also we are involved with Mexico Negro Association Civil. The project was funded in part by the Michigan Humanities Council. The traveling exhibit, Pathways to Freedom in the Americas, has been displayed in museums, schools, universities, and businesses throughout Michigan.
I went to Southfield.
Yay! We knew nothing about each other's culture or history, so we immersed in each other's families. I took Donahue to Southfield, Michigan to meet my parents and stay in my family home. Donahue participated in the annual Dr. Martin Luther King Peace Walk and made a presentation at the event. Donahue met with public officials. She shone with then Mayor Brenda Lawrence, now Congresswoman Lawrence. She visited the Southfield Library. It was her first time seeing snow. And she visited local schools and universities to educate children and students about the history of Afro-Mexicans. We went to the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. She got so emotional. Again, she knew nothing about the African presence in the United States. So seeing replicas of the slave ships, seeing the history of the civil rights movement, she fell on her knees and she cried. There were so many happy shared moments. The International Committee got together and did step dancing and line dancing. We had so much fun. Donahue took me to her home in the Costa Chica region that's comprised of the southern part of the state of Guerrero and the southern part of Oaxaca. Our first stop is at the Vicente Guerrero Museum of Afro-Mexican History in Cuajinicuilapa, Guerrero, where Mexico Negro Association Civil is headquartered. The museum has artifacts from the slave ships. The library has hands, replicas of the slave ships. The town square. The communities are mostly rural. There are more horses than cars. The people look just like me. Look at these kids.
La gente de nuestra Costa Chica.
And our seniors. Oh, this child could be my granddaughter. And the culture and traditions. One of the traditional dances is the Danza de los Diablos. I danced with the devils. Oh, see.
She danced.
Oh, see.
She is very emotional and cry.
Yes.
El arte en la Costa Chica.
This is from El Grupo Cimarrones. We're going to have an art exhibition from this group later.
La comida, the food.
These are mostly rural communities. I want you to see how many of the people are living. And remember, these photos were taken before the COVID virus and before the earthquake. And take a moment. This is the last African hut that was built by enslaved Africans. It is still standing. And then Donna, he woke me up one morning and told me she was going to take me to a very special place. I cried when I stepped foot in El Faro Bay, where our African ancestors first landed. It has been nominated to be a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Thank you, Pat. You are my friend.
And Donna, here you will always be my sister. Thank you.
Thank you.
In March 2020, African Mexicans were categorized and counted in the Mexican census for the first time in the country's history. In the past, this population had been included among the indigenous groups, but this created a problem because when government allocations were made for infrastructure, schools, hospital, etc., the allocations were done according to the indigenous language, and without a unique language, Afro-Mexicans were excluded. According to the recent census, Mexico's total population is 126 million. It ranks 11th in the world, right under Japan. 2.5 million people self-identified as African descendants, representing 2% of the total population. Many of the communities in the Costa Chica area were not counted due to the earthquake. The areas with the highest count are the states of Guerrero, the state of Mexico, the state of Veracruz, Oaxaca, and Mexico City. These combined represent 46% of the total Afro-Mexican population. The greatest concentration of Afro-Mexicans is on the Pacific coast, in the states of Guerrero, Oaxaca, and Baja California Sur. And this comes from the Trans-Pacific trade route that Donahue talked about earlier. Ships sailed from Spain to Africa, around Cape Hope, to the Philippines, and then back to the port cities in Guerrero, Acapulco, and Zihuatanejo, and in the ports of Oaxaca. Costa Chica is comprised of the southern part of the state of Guerrero and the southern part of the state of Oaxaca. Look at the Afro-Mexican population in Donahue's hometown of Coajinicuilapa in the state of Guerrero, over 79%. And look at some of the communities in Oaxaca with Afro-Mexican populations of over 90%. Now, when Donahue sent this map to me, it alerted me that something was wrong. Her brother lives in Pinatepa Nacional, which is the largest Afro-Mexican community in Oaxaca, and it's not even shown on the map. So when I called her to ask why and to discuss it, that's when it came up about how the communities had been so impacted by the earthquake and then undercounted in the census. And the big surprise from the census, African Americans, residents and dual citizens like me, comprise the largest group of foreign-born African descendants now living in Mexico.